Have you ever wondered why some people escape poverty while others remain trapped in the same cycle for decades? Is it luck, connections, or something deeper? What if the real difference isn't money, education, or opportunity, but the way a person thinks? Because the truth is simple yet powerful. Wealth begins in the mind long before it appears in the bank account. Today, I'm going to share 10 mindset shifts that transformed a poor life into a prosperous one. These are not tricks. They are mental transformations that change the direction of an entire life. If you understand them and apply them, your future will never look the same again. Many people believe poverty begins when money is absent, when opportunities are limited, or when life becomes unfair. But if we observe closely, we notice something deeper. Long before a person becomes poor financially, something begins to shrink inside the mind. It starts quietly with thoughts like "I can't," "It's impossible," "People like me don't succeed," or "This is just my fate." These thoughts slowly shape the way a person sees the world. When the mind begins to accept limitation, the eyes stop noticing opportunities. When hope fades, effort becomes weaker. When effort becomes weaker, results disappear. And over time, what started as a small belief quietly turns into a life condition. The human mind is powerful. It can build dreams or destroy them before they even begin. A person may live in a small house, wear simple clothes, and struggle financially. But if their mind is rich with faith, discipline, and determination, they are not truly poor. On the other hand, someone may have resources, education, and comfort, yet live with a defeated mindset that constantly whispers doubt and fear. Throughout history, many people began life with nothing. No wealth, no connections, no safety nets. Yet they carried something far more valuable inside them, a belief that life could change. That belief became a spark. And with time, that spark became effort, persistence, and eventually transformation. There is also a spiritual dimension to this truth. In many faith traditions, including Islam, it is taught that the condition of a people does not change until they change what is within themselves. This reminds us that transformation begins internally before it appears externally. The heart, the intentions, and the mindset of a person shape the path they walk. When a person begins to think differently, they start acting differently. When actions change, habits change. And when habits change, the direction of life slowly begins to move. Poverty in the mind often appears as hopelessness. It tells a person that their struggle will never end. It whispers that their efforts are meaningless. It convinces them that success belongs only to others. These quiet inner voices are far more dangerous than empty pockets because they steal the courage needed to move forward. But faith has the power to break this cycle. Faith reminds a person that hardship is not permanent. Faith reminds them that every difficulty carries the seed of ease. Faith reminds them that the Creator does not measure a person by their current condition, but by their sincerity, patience, and effort. When a person begins to trust that their life has purpose, something remarkable happens. Their thinking expands. They begin to see possibilities where they once saw walls. They begin to work harder, learn more, and push through challenges they once avoided. Emotionally, the pain of poverty can be very heavy. It can bring feelings of embarrassment, frustration, and sometimes even shame. Watching others move forward while feeling stuck can create a deep wound in the heart. Many people silently carry this burden, pretending to be strong while fighting battles nobody sees. But pain can also awaken strength. Many of the strongest individuals in the world were shaped by moments when life pushed them to their limits. They felt the pressure, the disappointment, the nights filled with worry, yet they chose not to surrender their belief in a better future. The moment a person begins to believe that their life can improve, something shifts inside them. Their mind begins searching for solutions instead of excuses. Their energy moves toward growth instead of complaint. Their focus moves from what they lack to what they can build. This inner shift is powerful because it reconnects a person with hope. Hope is not just a feeling, it is a force that pushes people to keep trying even when results are slow. Hope allows someone to take one more step when everything inside them feels tired. Faith strengthens this hope. It reminds a struggling heart that nothing in this world remains the same forever. Hardship passes. Difficulty softens. Doors open when patience and effort continue. A person who once believed they were trapped begins to realize they were only limited by their thinking. Their mind begins to expand, and with it, their actions become stronger, their discipline sharper, and their vision clearer. Inside every human being is the ability to rise beyond their circumstances. The mind can either become a prison that locks a person into fear and limitation, or it can become a powerful engine that pushes them toward growth, faith, and possibility. And when the mind begins to believe in growth, dignity, and purpose, something beautiful begins to awaken inside the human spirit, a quiet determination that refuses to accept defeat, a resilience that grows stronger with every struggle, and a deep trust that the path ahead can still hold mercy, opportunity, and transformation. Every person looks at the same world, yet not everyone sees the same possibilities. Two people may stand in the exact same place, facing the same circumstances, but one sees obstacles while the other sees doors waiting to be opened. The difference rarely lies in the environment. It lies in the thoughts that fill the mind. The mind acts like a filter. It decides what deserves attention and what gets ignored. When someone constantly thinks about limitation, fear, and failure, their mind begins searching for proof that these beliefs are true. Every challenge becomes confirmation that success is impossible. Every setback feels like a sign to stop trying. Opportunities may exist right in front of them, but their thoughts quietly hide those possibilities behind a wall of doubt. But when a person begins to think differently, the world starts to appear different as well. When the mind is filled with belief, curiosity, and determination, it begins searching for solutions instead of excuses. Problems begin to look like puzzles rather than barriers. Situations that once seemed impossible suddenly begin to reveal small openings that were always there. This is one of the most powerful truths about human life. The mind influences what the eyes are able to recognize. If a person wakes up every day believing that life is unfair and that success belongs only to others, then they are likely to be unhappy and unfulfilled. They unknowingly train their mind to overlook chances for growth. They may ignore a new idea, avoid learning a new skill, or walk away from an opportunity simply because their thoughts have already convinced them that nothing will work. But when hope lives in the mind, awareness expands. A person begins noticing ideas, connections, and possibilities they once ignored. Conversations become meaningful. Small chances feel important. Even difficulties begin to carry lessons that guide a person forward. There is also a deep spiritual wisdom connected to this reality. Many religious teachings remind us that the state of the heart and mind influences the path a person walks. When the heart carries gratitude and trust, blessings often appear in unexpected ways. When the heart carries constant despair and negativity, even the good that exists may go unnoticed. Faith encourages a person to keep their thoughts hopeful even during hardship. It reminds them that the Creator sees every effort, every struggle, and every silent prayer whispered during difficult nights. This belief strengthens the mind. It replaces fear with patience and replaces despair with resilience. When someone truly believes that their efforts matter, they begin to move with purpose. They start learning, working, exploring, and improving. Each action opens another door. Each step reveals another path. Opportunities rarely appear as bright, obvious miracles. Often they arrive quietly, disguised as small chances, new ideas, or unexpected challenges. Only a mind that is open, curious, and hopeful is able to recognize them. Emotionally, the difference between a limited mindset and an empowered one is enormous. A person who constantly expects failure lives under the heavy weight of discouragement. Their energy fades quickly. Their motivation weakens. Even before they begin, they already feel defeated. But a person who trains their thoughts toward growth carries a different emotional energy. They feel a quiet excitement about what might be possible. They remain patient during slow progress because they trust that every effort is building something meaningful. Their confidence does not come from guaranteed success, but from the belief that progress is always possible. This mindset slowly changes the way a person interacts with life. Instead of avoiding risk, they become willing to try. Instead of complaining about difficulty, they begin asking questions. Instead of comparing themselves to others, they focus on becoming better than they were yesterday. Thoughts become the starting point of transformation. They influence decisions, shape habits, and guide actions. Over time, these actions accumulate and begin to create new realities. A mind filled with doubt closes doors before they even appear. A mind filled with belief begins noticing paths that others walk past without ever realizing they were there. And slowly, quietly, the person who once believed the world had nothing to offer begins discovering opportunities that were always present, patiently waiting for someone whose thoughts were strong enough to see them. Many people spend years feeling trapped by circumstances. They blame the economy, their background, their family situation, or the unfairness of life. At first, this may feel comforting because blaming something outside ourselves removes the pressure of change. It allows a person to believe that their struggles are entirely beyond their control. But there is a hidden danger in this way of thinking. The moment a person believes that everything is someone else's fault, they quietly surrender their power. They begin to see themselves as a victim of life rather than a participant in shaping it. When this mindset grows, effort becomes weaker, motivation fades, and hope slowly disappears. Responsibility changes this entire picture. The moment a person says, "My life is my responsibility," something powerful begins to awaken inside them. It is not always comfortable. In fact, it can feel heavy at first. Accepting responsibility means admitting that change depends on personal effort, discipline, and decisions. But within that responsibility lies incredible freedom. Because if your life is your responsibility, it means your future is not fixed. It means your decisions matter. It means the actions you take today can reshape the direction of tomorrow. Responsibility transforms a person from a victim of circumstances into a creator of possibilities. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the mind begins asking, "What can I do about it?" Instead of waiting for someone else to solve problems, a person begins searching for solutions. This shift may appear small, but emotionally it changes everything. When someone feels powerless, their energy disappears. They lose the desire to try because they believe their efforts will not matter. But when someone accepts responsibility, even a small sense of control brings new strength. Effort begins to feel meaningful again. There is also a deep spiritual wisdom connected to this idea. In many religious teachings, including Islam, humans are reminded that they have been entrusted with responsibility in this world. Each person is accountable for their choices, intentions, and actions. This responsibility is not meant to burden the heart, but to remind us that our lives carry purpose. Faith teaches that while outcomes belong to God, effort belongs to us. A person is expected to strive, to work honestly, to grow, and to make the best use of the abilities they have been given. When someone accepts this responsibility sincerely, their heart becomes stronger. They begin to trust that every effort, even when unseen by others, carries value. Responsibility also strengthens character. It teaches discipline, patience, and integrity. A responsible person does not wait for perfect conditions before taking action. They do what they can with what they have, right where they are. Emotionally, this creates a powerful sense of dignity. Instead of feeling helpless, a person begins to feel capable. Each small achievement builds confidence. Each problem solved increases belief in their own ability to grow. Over time, these small moments of responsibility begin shaping the entire direction of life. A responsible person wakes up with intention. They take ownership of their habits, their learning, and their progress. They understand that success rarely arrives suddenly. It is built through daily effort, consistent discipline, and a willingness to improve. When mistakes happen, and they always do, a responsible person does not hide from them. Instead, they reflect, learn, and adjust. Failure becomes a lesson rather than a defeat. Responsibility also protects a person from bitterness. When someone constantly blames the world, resentment grows inside them. They begin to believe that life is against them. But responsibility replaces resentment with action. It reminds a person that while life may not always be fair, the power to grow still exists. Over time, the individual who accepts responsibility begins to notice something remarkable. Their confidence grows, their skills improve, their opportunities increase, and their future begins to look different from their past. What once felt impossible slowly begins to feel achievable. Doors that once seemed closed begin to open through persistence and effort. The person who once felt stuck begins moving forward with clarity and purpose. Responsibility does not remove difficulty from life. Challenges will still appear. Struggles will still test patience and strength. But responsibility gives a person something far more valuable than comfort. It gives them control over their response, control over their actions, and control over the direction they choose to walk. And when someone holds that level of control over their choices, they begin shaping a future that reflects their discipline, their effort, and the strength of the mindset they have chosen to carry every single day. Many people spend their lives chasing quick rewards. They look for fast money, instant success, and immediate results. In a world that moves quickly and rewards speed, patience often feels outdated. People want results now, progress now, comfort now. But true wealth rarely grows in a hurry. Real wealth is built slowly, quietly, and often invisibly. It begins with a simple shift in perspective, the ability to look beyond today and see the years ahead. When someone begins thinking long-term, their decisions change. The way they spend time changes. The way they use money changes. Even the way they view struggle begins to transform. A person who thinks only about today focuses on comfort. They choose what feels good in the moment. They spend quickly, avoid effort, and chase temporary pleasure. But someone who thinks about the future begins making decisions that protect tomorrow rather than satisfy today. This mindset requires patience, and patience is one of the rarest strengths a person can develop. Patience means planting seeds without expecting fruit immediately. It means working hard even when results are invisible. It means believing that small daily efforts, repeated consistently over time, will eventually create something meaningful. Many of the greatest successes in life grow quietly in the background long before anyone notices them. Skills are developed through years of learning. Financial stability grows through disciplined saving and wise investment. Strong character is built through repeated choices to do what is right even when it is difficult. Long-term thinking teaches a person to value growth over comfort. Instead of spending every resource they receive, they begin building something for the future. They invest in knowledge, relationships, and opportunities that may not show immediate rewards, but carry the potential to transform their life later. Emotionally, this can be challenging. Watching others enjoy instant pleasures while you are sacrificing for the future can sometimes feel lonely. There may be moments when patience feels heavy and progress feels slow. Doubt may whisper that the effort is not worth it. But those who remain committed to the long-term vision slowly begin to see something powerful happen. The small habits they practice daily begin to accumulate. Skills sharpen, confidence grows, opportunities appear. What once felt like slow progress begins to turn into momentum. There is also a deep spiritual lesson connected to this idea. Many religious teachings remind us that life itself is a journey of long-term thinking. Faith encourages patience, perseverance, and trust in a greater plan. In Islam, patience known as sabr is considered one of the greatest virtues a person can develop. Sabr is not passive waiting. It is active perseverance. It is continuing to strive, work, and improve while trusting that every sincere effort is seen by God. Even when rewards are delayed, faith reminds a person that nothing done with sincerity and patience is ever wasted. This belief strengthens the heart during slow seasons of life. It reminds a person that growth takes time and that some of the most meaningful blessings arrive after long periods of effort and resilience. Long-term thinkers understand that time is one of the most powerful forces in the world. Time magnifies habits, multiplies investments, and deepens knowledge. What begins as a small daily effort today can become extraordinary results years later. A single hour spent learning each day can turn into mastery. Small amounts of money saved consistently can turn into financial security. Small acts of discipline repeated over time can transform an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. While others rush from one opportunity to another, hoping for quick success, the long-term thinker remains steady. They focus on building foundations rather than chasing shortcuts. They understand that anything built too quickly often collapses just as quickly. Real wealth is not only measured in money. It includes wisdom, character, strong relationships, peace of mind, and the ability to live with dignity. These forms of wealth cannot be rushed. They grow through years of patience, learning, and perseverance. The person who learns to think long-term begins to move through life with a different energy. They are less distracted by temporary setbacks because they understand that one difficult moment does not define the entire journey. They are less tempted by short-term pleasures because they see something greater waiting ahead. Their decisions begin aligning with a larger vision. Every day becomes an investment in the future they hope to build. Every effort becomes a step toward something bigger than the present moment. And slowly, almost quietly, the seeds they planted years earlier begin to grow into opportunities, stability, wisdom, and success that others may suddenly notice without realizing that the foundation of that success was built patiently, day after day, through the quiet power of long-term thinking. Almost everyone has dreams. People imagine a better life, greater success, financial freedom, respect, and the ability to provide comfort for their families. Dreams are powerful because they ignite hope. They allow a person to see possibilities beyond their current situation. But dreaming alone does not change reality. Between a dream and its fulfillment stands one powerful force: discipline. Discipline is what turns an idea into action and action into results. It is the quiet decision to do what must be done even when the mind searches for excuses. Many people begin their journeys with excitement and motivation, but motivation is emotional and temporary. It rises and falls depending on mood, comfort, and circumstances. Discipline, however, is different. Discipline does not depend on feelings. It depends on commitment. A dreamer waits until they feel inspired to work. An achiever works whether inspiration is present or not. A dreamer plans endlessly but delays action. An achiever takes consistent steps even when progress feels slow. This is why discipline becomes the bridge between imagination and reality. Without discipline, even the most brilliant ideas remain trapped inside the mind. Without discipline, goals remain wishes rather than achievements. Discipline is what transforms intention into movement and movement into momentum. Emotionally, discipline is not always comfortable. It often asks a person to rise early when sleep feels easier. It demands focus when distractions call loudly. It requires patience when results are invisible. There are moments when discipline feels lonely because the path of growth is rarely crowded. Many people avoid discipline because it demands sacrifice. It asks a person to give up immediate pleasure for long-term progress. It asks them to control their habits, manage their time wisely, and remain committed even when life becomes difficult. But those who embrace discipline begin to experience a powerful transformation. Each time they choose effort over comfort, their confidence grows. Each time they keep a promise to themselves, their self-respect deepens. Slowly, the person they are becoming begins to look stronger than the person they once were. Over time, discipline creates something remarkable: consistency. And consistency is one of the most powerful forces behind success. Small actions repeated daily can create extraordinary outcomes. A person who studies every day gains knowledge that others never acquire. A person who works on their skills daily develops abilities that open doors to new opportunities. A person who saves and invests regularly builds financial stability, while others remain trapped in cycles of spending. There is also a spiritual dimension to discipline that many people overlook. In faith traditions, discipline is often connected to self-control and sincerity. In Islam, for example, practices like prayer, fasting, and charity are not only acts of worship, but also forms of discipline. They train the heart and mind to develop patience, humility, and consistency. These acts remind a person that discipline is not only about achieving worldly success, it is also about strengthening the soul, purifying intentions, and living a life of responsibility and purpose. Faith teaches that every effort made with sincerity carries value. Even when results are unseen by others, they are never unseen by God. This understanding gives discipline deeper meaning. It reminds a person that perseverance, honesty, and hard work are not wasted struggles, but acts of growth and devotion. Emotionally, discipline also protects a person from regret. Many people reach a point in life where they look back and realize how much time was lost to distraction, laziness, or fear. The pain of regret can be heavier than the discomfort of discipline. But the person who chooses discipline builds a life step by step. They move forward with purpose. They become stronger mentally and emotionally because they have trained themselves to act rather than hesitate. Discipline also reshapes identity. At first, it may feel like something forced, something a person must push themselves to do. But with time, discipline becomes part of who they are. It becomes natural to wake early, to learn daily, to stay focused, and to work consistently toward meaningful goals. This transformation creates a powerful difference between dreamers and achievers. Dreamers talk about what they hope to accomplish someday. Achievers quietly build their future through daily effort. Dreamers wait for the perfect moment. Achievers create progress with the moments they already have. Dreamers often allow fear, doubt, or comfort to delay their actions. Achievers move forward despite fear, learning and growing with every step they take. And slowly, over time, the disciplined individual begins to notice something remarkable. The dreams that once felt distant begin to take shape. Opportunities appear where none existed before. Confidence grows as results begin to reflect the effort invested. The path of discipline may not always be easy, but it shapes individuals who are capable, resilient, and prepared to turn their visions into reality through consistent action, quiet perseverance, and the strength to continue moving forward when others have already stopped trying. Many people feel trapped by the circumstances they were born into. They may grow up in environments where opportunities seem small, resources are limited, and the future feels uncertain. In these moments, it can appear as though life has already decided their boundaries for them. But one powerful force has the ability to break those boundaries: learning. Learning expands the mind, and when the mind expands, the limits that once seemed permanent begin to disappear. A person may begin life with very little money, few connections, and limited exposure to opportunity. Yet if they develop the habit of learning, they begin to unlock doors that once seemed invisible. Knowledge has always been one of the greatest equalizers in human history. Wealth can be lost, possessions can disappear, and circumstances can change overnight. But knowledge gained through sincere effort becomes part of who a person is. It shapes their thinking, strengthens their decisions, and opens paths that others may never even recognize. A person who learns continuously begins to see the world differently. Problems that once felt overwhelming begin to look solvable. Challenges become opportunities to grow stronger rather than reasons to give up. The more someone learns, the more confident they become in their ability to navigate life's uncertainties. Emotionally, learning also builds hope. When a person feels stuck, the future can appear dark and narrow. They may believe that no matter how hard they try, nothing will change. But learning introduces new ideas, new perspectives, and new possibilities. It reminds the mind that life is not fixed. Growth is always possible for those who are willing to seek it. This is why many individuals who started with the least resources eventually built the greatest success. They treated knowledge as their most valuable investment. While others spent their time complaining about limitations, they spent their time studying, observing, and improving themselves. Every new skill learned becomes a tool. Every new idea becomes a seed for opportunity. Over time, these tools and ideas begin to shape a different life. There is also a deep spiritual significance connected to learning. In Islam, the pursuit of knowledge is considered a noble and sacred act. The first word revealed in the Quran was Iqra, which means read. This powerful beginning reminds humanity that learning is not only a path toward worldly success, but also a path toward understanding, wisdom, and closeness to the Creator. Seeking knowledge with sincerity strengthens both the mind and the soul. It teaches humility because the more a person learns, the more they realize how vast the world of knowledge truly is. It teaches patience because true understanding requires time, effort, and reflection. Faith also reminds a person that knowledge should be used responsibly to benefit others, to solve problems, and to create goodness in the world. When learning is guided by sincere intention, it becomes more than a personal advantage. It becomes a way to uplift communities and bring positive change to society. Emotionally, the journey of learning is not always easy. There are moments when understanding feels difficult, when progress feels slow, and when doubt begins to whisper that improvement is impossible. But every expert, every leader, and every successful individual has faced these moments. The difference is that they continued learning even when the process felt challenging. Each page read, each lesson understood, each skill practiced adds another layer of strength to the mind. Slowly, the person who once felt limited begins to grow beyond the boundaries that once defined them. Opportunities begin appearing where none existed before. Conversations become deeper. Ideas become clearer. Confidence grows as knowledge transforms uncertainty into understanding. Learning also protects a person from stagnation. The world is constantly changing. New technologies appear, industries evolve, and societies move forward. Those who stop learning often find themselves left behind, while those who remain curious and open to knowledge continue to adapt and grow.
Over time, the habit of learning reshapes identity.
A person who once believed they were ordinary begins to realize that growth is always within reach. They discover abilities they never knew they possessed. They develop skills that allow them to contribute meaningfully to the world around them. The most powerful aspect of learning is that it never truly ends. Every stage of life offers new lessons, new wisdom, and new opportunities to expand the mind. The person who embraces this journey remains alive with curiosity and purpose, and as knowledge continues to grow within them, the limitations that once seemed permanent slowly begin to fade, replaced by understanding, capability, and the quiet realization that the mind, when nourished with learning, holds the power to rise far beyond the boundaries that once defined its world. Many people spend their lives chasing money directly. They constantly think about earning more, getting paid more, or finding faster ways to make income. Their focus remains fixed on the reward rather than the reason behind the reward. But money rarely flows toward those who only chase it. Money flows toward value. When a person shifts their focus from how can I make money to how can I become valuable, their entire path begins to change. Instead of searching for shortcuts, they begin searching for ways to improve themselves. They build skills, solve problems, and look for ways to contribute something meaningful to the lives of others. Value is created whenever a person makes life easier, better, or more efficient for someone else. A teacher creates value by spreading knowledge. A doctor creates value by healing the sick. An entrepreneur creates value by solving problems and providing useful products or services. A worker creates value by contributing effort and skill that help organizations grow. Money is simply the world's way of rewarding the value that someone delivers. When value increases, opportunities increase. When opportunities increase, income often follows naturally. This is why individuals who focus on growth, service, and improvement tend to rise steadily over time. They become useful, dependable, and capable qualities that the world always needs. Emotionally, this shift in thinking can be powerful. Instead of feeling desperate for money, a person begins focusing on becoming better every day. They begin asking deeper questions. What problems can I solve? How can I improve people's lives? How can I make my skills more valuable? This mindset builds confidence because progress becomes visible. Each new skill learned, each challenge solved, and each contribution made strengthens the belief that one's efforts matter. There is also a spiritual dimension to value creation. In Islam, serving others and contributing positively to society is considered a noble act. The Prophet Muhammad, Arabic Sada, Arabic Lam, Arabic Alif Maksura, Arabic Alif, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lat, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam. Arabic meme emphasized that the best among people are those who bring the greatest benefit to others. This teaching reminds us that real success is not measured only by what we accumulate, but also by the good we create in the lives of others. When a person works with sincerity, honesty, and the intention to provide genuine benefit, their efforts carry deeper meaning. Wealth gained through honest value becomes a blessing rather than a burden. It allows a person to support family, help the needy, and build something meaningful in the world. Faith also encourages excellence in whatever work a person performs. Doing work with care, dedication, and integrity increases the value of that work. When people trust the quality and sincerity of what someone provides, that trust becomes one of the most powerful assets they can possess. Value creation also requires patience. In the beginning, effort may appear greater than the reward. A person may work long hours learning skills, improving their craft, or building something new while results remain small. These moments test belief and perseverance, but over time, consistent value begins to compound. Skills become stronger. Reputation grows. People begin to notice reliability and excellence. Opportunities expand because others recognize the benefit that person brings. What once required enormous effort eventually becomes recognized expertise. The individual who focused on value rather than immediate reward begins experiencing something remarkable. People seek their help, their ideas, and their skills. Emotionally, this creates a sense of dignity and purpose. Instead of feeling like someone chasing money endlessly, a person begins to feel like a contributor to the world around them. Their work becomes meaningful because it helps others in real ways. The marketplace naturally responds to value. Businesses grow when they solve problems. Professionals succeed when their abilities improve the lives of those they serve. Creators gain recognition when their ideas inspire or educate others. Money, in this sense, becomes a reflection of usefulness. The more useful a person becomes, the more opportunities they attract. The more opportunities they attract, the more doors begin to open. Over time, this principle quietly reshapes a person's life. Instead of living in constant pursuit of income, they dedicate their energy to growth, service, creativity, and improvement. And as their ability to create value expands, the rewards that follow often arrive as a natural consequence of the impact they bring into the lives of others. Poverty is not always about the money someone has. Often, it begins with the ideas someone believes. Change the ideas, and you change the direction of your life. Remember this: the richest soil for wealth is a disciplined mind, a learning spirit, and a long-term vision. Anyone can start with nothing. But the person who masters their thinking begins building something powerful. And one day, what once looked impossible becomes the story of their success. Because wealth does not begin in the wallet. It begins in the mind,